So this is Ian Williams. He's a writer, and he has been lecturing and participating with the Rum Festival since it started. He just gave a seminar on the history of rum. Are there any salient points about the history of rum that our South Florida readers can relate to, Ian?
I think the major point that I usually start these lectures off is it was not tea that caused the American Revolution. Not even the British fight wars about Earl Grey. The revolution was about molasses and it was about rum.
Thank you, Ian, because you know what? That's a great point. Sugar ruled the world.
And rum ruled the world as well. I mean, the American colonists imported molasses from the French colonies, even when we were at war with them. And then they made that into rum, which they used to trade for slaves in West Africa, and to basically ethnically cleanse the Indians in the West. And so, you know, you can see why this isn't popular history, because it means the founding fathers were slave trading, rum smuggling, ethnic cleansers. This is not the way we like to think of them. It's not the way we like to think of them, but, however, we are all still enjoying our rum beverages today. And so what other things did you talk about in your lecture that you would like to share? Well, we talked about the history. As far as we know, rum began in Barbados. That was the first time it was mentioned, rum bullion and Kill Devil. And you look all the way up along the East Coast here. There's Kill Devil Hills, Kill Devil Bays, Kill Devil something or other. And that was the original name for rum. It was pretty potent stuff. And as far as we can tell, in Barbados, it was this confluence of sugar that the Dutch and Portuguese have brought across, and distilling technology. My theory is from Scots and Irish prisoners from the English Civil Wars who were taken to Barbados and used as a white slave labor. So when you say Kill Devil, you mean like up and down the east coast of the United States? Yeah, you look at the map. Place names. Cape Hatteras, yes, all around there. Kill Devil is a frequent place name, because rum was a huge commodity. And eventually, when the New England colonies got their act together, they smuggled that molasses from the French colonies so they could make their own rum. And New England rum was a sort of major trade item, a major part of American culture until after the Revolution. Why do you think it is that we no longer reference New England rum in terms of popular American culture today? Well, two things. One, as I said, is that the people who write American history are the people who won the American Civil War, who are abolitionists, and prohibitionists, and they didn't really want a history that had slave trading, rum smugglers. Damn Yankees! So prominent, yeah. And it's interesting. As far as I know, the very last American naval ship to have a rum ration was the Confederate raider. I think it was the Shenandoah. It was the very last one because the Union Navy abolished rum immediately at the start of the Civil War. Before then, no, in fact, they used whiskey mostly. So they had booze. It just wasn't rum. No, the Union Navy abolished booze, full stop, for the ratings. Not for the officers, just for their ratings. Oh, good. So it's very likely the last official grog ration on an American ship was the Confederate raider that carried on raiding for a year or so before anyone told them the war was over. I think it was the Shenandoah. Yeah, that was probably an awful time for those sailors. No, they were doing very well there. They kept sinking Union ships. I know, but being a sailor probably sucked. Well, the British Navy gave half a pint of neat overproof rum. Well, it wasn't neat because they mixed it with water, but they gave half a pint of rum a day for the rum ration. And the Britannia ruled the waves for 200 years on that diet. But not the Americans. No, well, that was why it wasn't until much later that the American Navy sort of took over. The British didn't abolish it until 1970. So tell us where we can find you. Do you have a website? I have a site, rumpundit.com. And do you just like to cover the history, or do you review rums? I review rums as well. I like the product. And I think it's a very important product because one of my lines is that almost every glass of rum you drink helps a poor, underdeveloped country develop.
This is
mostly
true.
comes from the tropics. So
yes.
You can do your heart and your liver good at the same time by
or at least your conscience.
Toasting, yes.
If you're going to ruin the body, at least help your conscience. And where are you based out of?
I'm based in New York. Can't you tell from my accent?
Yeah, no. Where were you from before that?
I'm from Liverpool, where we used to drink a lot of rum. I used to slip out to the pub from the cabin when the Beatles were playing, so I got to have a rum and blackcurrant and a pint of bitter.
You know, Philip Duff was talking about that earlier today as well. Who knew? Like, I mean, of course, we don't think about it that way, but the colonial powers and the motherland. I mean, rum was very important back home.
It was part of our diet almost.
More than Guinness.
It was good for colds, good for flu. It was mixed in there. And my father was in the Merchant Navy during the war, and the only spirit he ever drank at Christmas was Guyana rum, Demerara rum.
And nobody ever got sick, right?
No, well, he was... it's one of the reasons I explain in my Proustian foreword to my book about... for me, this smell of Christmas was orange peel, because tangerines were on ration, and rum, and the cigar we used to buy my father. So those three smells together always symbolize Christmas and comfort for me.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, thank you very much.